I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday the 13th of March 2020, brought to you in part by the Mush Rush family. Going to be having their big sale out of the Flint Hills of Kansas. They've got Red Angus bulls, they've got some Red Angus Simmental composites there if that's what you're looking for. They're going to be selling some females. They've got a load of Red Angus bred heifers there they're going to be selling. Going to be a lot of good quality, and they've got a big long time reputation of having top quality. And if you guys are interested in that sale, get on DV Auction on March the 20th and bid and buy right there. There are no superlatives left for this COVID-19, this coronavirus outbreak. The fear and the spread out is just unbelievable. All the cancellations that have happened. Are we overblown? I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's been other disease outbreaks that we've had in the past that have killed more people that we haven't shut things down for, but maybe we're taking the right precautions. I don't know. But I tell you what, it has taken a hit on our economy. Stock market down big time. Cattle market down big time. I don't know how many more of these limit down days we can stand. Every so often we get a limit up day. It takes a little bit of the pressure off, but always the losers outweigh the gainers. And whenever you're talking about limit moves, I mean, it's taking people's heads off. It's unbelievable what's happened. People are afraid to buy anything. Even your lightweight stocker cattle. We're right here when we ought to have green grass fever, and everybody should be all over these stocker cattle. They're still buying them, but yeah, a foot lower or more. And of course your bigger feeder cattle are taking the brunt of the hit, or fat cattle are taking the brunt of the hit. It's a bad deal. But what's going to happen, we don't know. It could get worse. You might as well brace yourself. Got a text from my friend Corby Coast up there in the North Country, and he was saying, what scares me is, what if the unions decide that the laborers in these packing plants can't be together and that close, and they end up making those guys stay home and they shut the packing plants down? Ouch. And that's why I blamed it on Corby Coast. He can handle it. Don't blame it on me, but it's something to think about, guys. Who knows what's going to happen here? We did hear of some big outfits that are starting to try to take advantage of this market going up, and all we can say is, whenever we do get a little breather here, we get a little bit of confidence coming in, or we're starting to say that things are getting back to normal, then we've got to all jump on the futures market and ride it back up. It's going to be a good ride. We're a long ways down from where this thing needs to be, from what these cattle are actually worth. So if you need a shot in the arm, let's all wait till we get to a point where we feel more confidence, and then let's all get back on and let's ride it higher. And once we all decide that that's what we're going to do, when these technical people see something in the charts, that's what we need to do. But the hell of it is, these charts don't ring true when we're in the middle of a crisis like this. So it's kind of unclear what a good time to get back on is. But look at your stock market, look at the things that are going on, and when we get to that point, let's all get back on and ride. You know, out here in Northern California all week, and it's bad out here, and I thought maybe it's just because of California, but you know, whenever I hear news from home that we're no longer going to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, they're canceling everything. They're canceled the March Madness. It was going to be weird enough trying to watch that stuff with no spectators in the crowd, but now they've canceled it altogether. I'm worried about the bookies. How are they going to survive? That was usually a big hit for them before they got into baseball season, which not many people bet on. And they're usually planning on a big slug of people to bet and lose money on March Madness. What's Barack Obama going to do without a bracket to fill out? Just worried about a lot of people out there, and you know, they've just canceled almost everything. And I guess we're all supposed to go home and crawl on top of the refrigerator and start sucking our thumb until the dust settles. But I don't know what's going to become of this thing. Nobody else does either. Our president has taken all the precautions in the world. I can't imagine anything more that he could have done to try to to put confidence back in this thing or keep the people safe, or a balance of the both. That I just got to go on and start talking about the markets. I want to tell you guys about the great trip I've had out here in Northern California. Lots of good people out of here, and I'd always heard Hank Williams Jr. talk about North California and South Alabama, and I thought, really, North California? Yes, North California is a great place to be. It's spread out. They've got a lot of open grass areas out here, and it's not like it is over on the coast, you know, midways and down. And there's good people out here. I feel sorry for them because as far as politics, they just have to sit back and watch and see how bad it's going to be on them, because there's not enough of them to really put their word in, and they can elect a few people in their areas, and of course they're going to be outnumbered too. But just a good amount of people out here. Been out here with Beringer Ingelheim, and they've been having some producer meetings promoting long-range wormers, and had a good turnout. A lot of cowboys, a lot of good people out here. Just enjoyed every minute of it. A lot of good friends. The Neeson brothers, Justin and JC, are good friends of mine, took me on a tour there on Wednesday afternoon, and got to see some country. They showed me some yearlings that they had turned out, showed me a lot of their customers with Western Video Market and with Shasta Livestock in Cottonwood, California. We stopped by Dwayne Martin's ranch, one of their ranches. Both Junior and Senior were there. They were processing some cattle and getting ready to turn them out. It's awful dry here in Northern California, and I wouldn't know it because I've never been here, but it looks pretty green and good, but they tell you it ought to be more lush than what it is, and people are already starting to move their cattle when they normally wouldn't have moved them till middle of April or even later, and so that's a concern out in this part of the country. Met a great guy, a Feeder Flash gang member by the name of Dan McPherson, and had supper with him on Wednesday night, and guy's got a lot of good stories and done a lot of things. He feeds potatoes out here, and he's worried about getting a overeating shot on them because he's losing the cattle because they're getting too much starch, but I think that's happened to me a time or two. But just really enjoyed the trip out here. Going to be Friday morning at Shasta Livestock, Cottonwood, California. Got one more talk to give, and then headed back to Sacramento to hopefully fly home if they don't cancel our plane. But look at the board for Thursday. April live cattle futures down the limit. They were all down the limit. April live cattle down $3 at $100.07. That's your spot live cattle futures. So we're selling cattle late in the week at 105. I guess that's a $5 basis there if it counts for any good. But June down to $3 limit at 94 and a quarter, guys. I'm hearing some talk from some of the brokers that we've got some support level at 90 or 91. But who would know? Who would know? What if they shut down the packing houses, you know? What if they shut down the sale barns, you know? What are we going to do? It's unbelievable. But all of your live cattle contracts were down to $3 limit, except for the few at the very end of the line next summer, and they were down $2.97. So there you go. March feeder cattle. All your feeder cattle contracts that are traded were down to $4.50 limit. March down 4.5, 118.82. April down 4.5, 119.02 for an 800-pound steer in April. All down to $4.50 limit. Fat cattle, they traded some more on Thursday. Iowa about 5,600. They had a big movement this week, over 32,000 for Iowa confirmed this week. Your late sales were 105 to 109. They had some 110 earlier in the week. They had some 175 earlier in the week. Late sales at 170 dressed. Nebraska about 1,500. They've sold about 34,000 for the week. Mostly all at 170 late. They had quite a bit of 175 middle of the week, but this thing is just going away from them faster than they can get a hold of it. Kansas and Texas, not too many sales in the Southern Plains through Thursday afternoon there, but Kansas had about 1,400, about 20,200 for the week. They were selling cattle live from 105 to 107, mostly 105 late in the week. They had a lot of 110 middle of the week, a little bit of 170. Texas, a little bit of 105, but it's just sickening. Box beef cutout values, they pretty much held their own. I tell you what, these packers know how to get through a crisis. Every time we have one, whether it's mad cow or a plant fire or whatever it is, economic crisis, anything that comes along, your meat packers end up holding their own pretty well, because they pretty much fix the prices on their end, and then they shoot these guys in the feet and just take advantage of them on the livestock end. But choice cuts on Thursday afternoon, 206.01 down $1.16. Your select cuts 197.88 up $1.39. Choice select spread a little over $8 there. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction on Thursday afternoon late, 128.87. That's the first time we've dropped below 130 since I can remember, but really, really cheap. Down $2.41 just since the previous day, and this thing is just falling out of bed, guys. Pratt, Kansas had the best sale that I saw on Thursday. Good sale at Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas. Had a pretty good run, 3,000 head. And the feeder steers were $9 to $13 lower. Feeder heifers $8 to $11 lower. Even in quarantine, I'm going to eat some steaks, guys. Let's talk about some outstanding quotes that they had from Pratt. 80 head of 546-pound stocker steers at $177. They had a part load of little peewee steers weighed $391 at $214. That's a pretty good price on those. They've got the top quote for the day I'll give you at the end of the broadcast here. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, had under 1,700 head. Just fears nobody bringing cattle in. Market was not well tested. Had a pretty good test at Mitchell, South Dakota. 3,700 head there. Your bigger feeder steers weighing over 8 were $8 to $11 lower. Feeder heifers weighing over 7.5, $6 to $10 lower. Look at your feeder steers weighing under 8 and your steer calves. Anything under 800 pounds on the steers, $14 to $17 lower, people. Feeder heifers under 750, $7 to $15 lower. Look at some outstanding quotes in this down market. Billings Livestock Commission, Billings, Montana, 145 head, the biggest string we had on Thursday. 587-pound steers bring 152. Stockman's Livestock Exchange East, Dickinson, North Dakota. I'm not sure if we've had an outbreak up there, but they're feeling the pain up there too. But they had probably the best quote on middleweight steers. 93 head, 676-pound steers, 150.5. And Pratt, Kansas had the best quote on feeder steers that I saw on Thursday. 60 head, 859-pound steers at 124. That's your feeder flash for Friday.